Ever get stuck on those like really big life questions? The kind that make you stop and think, what's it all about? The ones most people just, I don't know, never really try to answer.
Yeah.
Well, today we're diving deep on 5 of those questions. We're going to be using insights from Timotopia Wokal. He's a life strategist.
Okay, yeah.
And we're here to help you uncover some pretty insightful answers. So let's just dive right in, I guess.
Sounds good.
This first one, it's like deceptively simple. Who am I?
Right.
But Wokal, he's saying it's not just about like, your name, what you do for work, that kind of stuff.
No, not at all. It goes much deeper than that. It's about understanding your core, your strengths, weaknesses, the values you hold, what you believe in.
There's like the foundation for everything else.
Exactly. When you have that deep understanding of yourself, it's like you've got this solid base for making decisions, the kind of choices that really align with who you are at your core.
Makes sense. How do we even begin to answer something so big?
Well, Wokal suggests spending time in self-reflection.
Okay.
Journaling. That can be super powerful for this. Like, imagine asking yourself, what are 3 values that really guide my decisions? Think about times you felt truly in tune with yourself. What values were at play in those moments?
I like that's not just thinking, but looking for patterns. Oh, this keeps coming up.
Yeah, exactly. And Wokal also talks about having those open conversations with people you trust, of course.
Sure.
Sometimes, hearing how other people see us, it can give us some really valuable insights.
Like the things we might be blind to.
Yeah. Think of it as someone holding up a mirror to your personality, and suddenly you see yourself from a whole new angle.
Right. It's like that saying, you don't truly know someone until you've walked a mile in their shoes.
Yeah.
But here, it's more like letting others help us see ourselves better.
Absolutely. And all this self-knowledge, it's not just for fun, The studies have shown that, being more self-aware, it's linked to all these positive things. Better decisions, stronger relationships, even greater well-being. You're more resilient.
Wow. Okay, so there's some pretty good reasons to put in the effort to understand ourselves.
For sure.
Wokal calls it living effectively. And I'm starting to see why.
Right.
Knowing who you are, you can make choices that actually fit with your values. And I guess that leads to a more fulfilling life.
Precisely. And speaking of, let's move on to the second question. It kind of builds on this foundation of self-knowledge. Wokal asks, where am I from?
Okay, but he's not talking about just geography, right?
Right. He's talking about those deeper roots.
Like all the influences that made us who we are today.
Exactly. Understanding our background, exploring family history, culture, even spiritual beliefs.
So for some people, it might be like researching their family tree.
Yeah, it could be. Or maybe diving into their cultural traditions. For others, it might be more about exploring different spiritual or philosophical ideas, seeing what really speaks to their own values.
I love how Wokal describes it. He says it's like going on this personal archaeological dig.
Yeah.
It's about uncovering those hidden layers that make up our own unique story.
And it's amazing, because by understanding where we come from, we get this deeper sense of belonging, of purpose. We begin to see how our own little journey fits into this bigger picture, the tapestry of human experience.
Right. It's like realizing we're all connected in this grand scheme of things. And exploring those connections, that can be incredibly enriching.
Definitely.
It really is. It's like, whoa, we're just a small piece of this huge puzzle.
That's a great way to put it.
And it makes you think, what's it all for? Which brings us to Wokal's third question.
Okay.
He asks, why am I here on Earth? That one, it can be a little daunting, to be honest.
Yeah, I get that. It's a question that's been around, forever, probably. But Wokal's approach, I think it's both insightful and kind of reassuring.
Okay, how so?
He doesn't say purpose has to be this, grand mission,
Right.
It can be found in the everyday stuff, the choices we make. Especially when those choices, they line up with our values.
So it's more about, living with intention, not some, predestined fate kind of thing.
Exactly. It's about figuring out what really matters to you and then making choices that reflect that. He's got these really interesting prompts to help you figure that out.
Oh, like what? Give us an example.
Well, one thing he suggests is thinking about your passions, your talents. Like what activities really make you feel alive, energized.
The things you do even if you weren't getting paid. Right?
Exactly, yeah.
I could see that.
A lot of times those passions, those talents, they hold clues. They point to what we're meant to give back to the world.
It's like finding that sweet spot. where your passion meets purpose, and then your actions, they become meaningful, not just stuff you're doing.
Yeah, that's it perfectly. And, it's important to remember, purpose, it can change. It's not fixed. It evolves as we do.
Right, which makes sense because we're always growing, changing. And that kind of brings us to Owokol's fourth question.
Okay.
This one shifts gears a little bit. It goes from thinking about purpose to actually doing something about it.
Right, it's about action.
He asks, what can I do to achieve why I am here?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you've thought about it, now what?
Exactly. Time to put those insights into practice. Owokol talks about the importance of setting goals, learning, growing, staying focused, even when there are distractions, and being patient.
Oh yeah, patience. In a world of instant gratification, that's a tough one.
It is. He reminds us that big achievements, they don't happen overnight. It takes consistent effort, dedication. But we don't have to do it alone,
That's true, that's true. Having a support system, people who believe in you, that makes a huge difference.
Absolutely. Owokole, he emphasizes that, the importance of community. People who cheer you on, challenge you, celebrate your wins.
It's like having, a personal cheerleading squad.
Yeah.
Plus mentors all in one.
He also talks about seeking guidance from mentors, people you admire, people who have, achieved things you aspire to. Their wisdom and support, it can be so valuable.
Okay, now get ready for this last question, because this one, it's really thought-provoking. Owokole asks, where am I going after this life?
Wow.
That's getting pretty deep, pretty existential.
It is, and Owokole, he approaches this question carefully. He knows that there are so many different beliefs, philosophies about what happens after death.
So he's not trying to say, this is the answer, or
Yeah.
push any one belief system.
No, not at all. He wants you to think about your own beliefs and consider how those beliefs, how they impact how you're living your life right now.
I see. So it's not really about the afterlife itself. It's more about how thinking about it can affect how we live today.
Exactly. It's a prompt to get us thinking about our priorities, minimizing regrets, making the most of our time. Like what really matters.
It's a good reminder. Life is precious. We get to choose how we spend it. And this question, it encourages us to live with intention, with purpose, with gratitude.
Absolutely. And you can see how all these 5 questions, they're connected. They build on each other. It's like they create this framework for self-discovery, for living a meaningful life.
Yeah, it's like each question adds another piece to the puzzle.
It really is. And Owokole, he believes that when we actually take the time to answer these questions, it helps us see our lives more clearly, we make better choices, and ultimately, we just feel more confident, more fulfilled.
Like we're creating this, roadmap for our lives.
That's a great way to put it, a guide to help navigate the challenges and opportunities. And he also makes this interesting point that a lot of the problems we see in the world, they come from people not knowing the answers to these basic questions.
That's interesting.
Yeah, when you don't have that sense of self, a purpose, or a connection to something bigger, it can lead to, emptiness, feeling lost, even destructive behaviors.
Like you're just drifting with no direction.
Exactly. But when you explore these questions, it's like you can finally chart a course, one that feels authentic, fulfilling.
And the best part is, there are no right or wrong answers. It's all about self-discovery. Those answers are going to be unique to you. Your experiences, your beliefs, what you value.
Absolutely. It's a journey, so embrace it. Be open to learning and growing along the way. And remember, your answers might change over time too.
Right, because we're always changing, evolving. So this whole deep dive, it's really just the beginning, right?
It is. It's an invitation to start exploring these questions. Take your time with them, reflect on them, maybe even write down your thoughts as you go.
Keep that journal handy.
Yeah. And it's not about finding the perfect answer or reaching some final destination. It's about the journey itself, what you learn along the way.
I like that. So, as a final thought, maybe choose one question, one that's really speaking to you right now.
Yeah.
And just sit with it for a while. Journal about it, talk it over with a friend, or just, think about it.
You might be surprised by the wisdom you find within yourself.
That's a great point. The answers are already there, somewhere inside. Well, this has been fascinating. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And remember, this is just the start. Keep asking those big questions, keep looking for those answers, and keep living a life that reflects the real you.